Good evening, everyone, and welcome to another edition of the Best Damn Sports Show in Franklin County for Wednesday, June 20th, 2018, the very last day of spring. And I'm not sure, Duke, when summer
Yeah, I'm
arrives.
usually on top of that. All I can tell you is tomorrow sometime.
Okay.
Right, last full day of spring today.
So
tomorrow at some point.
So our usual core folk here, Zach, studio director, to my immediate right, Nick, and my far right, my good pal, the Duke.
Nick.
And I'm going to start out tonight by saying I made personal history last night.
Amazing.
I went to the Vermont Lake Monster game and purchased my first ever seniors ticket.
Oh yeah, was that $8 bucks?
It was $8 for the regular grandstand ticket, so $6 for the ticket. So
So the senior grandstand was $6.
$6.
God,
Yeah.
steal.
So I will tell you, it was a very long evening, and I will also tell you, and Nick was there, unbeknownst to me, but to have a better weather night the rest of the year than last night.
Yeah.
It was like 73 degrees at game time
Really?
with a nice stiff breeze from the northwest, really dry, and it was just awesome. Now, I showed up, don't laugh.
Did you know
It
you
was-
knew it was a 6 o'clock start or no?
6:05. Yeah,
You knew-
I
you
showed
knew
up,
that.
listen this, at 4:30 because it was Toque night. Okay, now,
You did get a place to park inside, I
I
trust.
still was able to get the $3 parking spot, no problem. So I stood in line.
There at 4:30?
Well, I didn't realize.
Think it was going to be a sellout or something?
Being the first game of the year.
Yeah, I got there
And
For the record, the
early
night before,
too.
they got, what,
Right.
7 pitches in
Yeah.
the night
Yeah.
before?
Right.
Yeah, and it was supposed to be opening day and
So-
game two, and it's a
It's a
double
doubleheader.
header.
And great
Two for the
weather.
price of one.
And a
Most
real
Great
of the
weather.
kids are out of school
Yeah,
that day.
yeah. I was
Real
expecting it to be a
doubleheader.
complete
And I
sellout
told
as
my
well.
buddy, I said, man, we got to get down there early. Now, I look horrible in toques, but I just had to have that toque. Not a
Yeah.
bad looking toque.
Yeah, it's not bad at all.
With
So
the
my
Lake-
brother
Lake
was wearing.
Monsters insignia on it?
Yeah.
Yeah, and as it got colder through the night, my brother put his on and was
Really?
wearing it around. So
Is that right?
It
it
did
worked
cool
out
off.
pretty well for him.
So I told him, I said, man, we got to get there early. This place is, if it's not going to be a sellout, it's going to be a near sellout. And I can guarantee you there's going to be at least 3,500 people, if not closer to 4,000 people. Well, unbeknownst to me, and like I said, I haven't been going to Monsters that much, maybe average a game per year.
They've been fading a bit in recent
And
years.
the official attendance
Attendance-wise.
for the first game was only 2,416.
Oh, that's disappointing.
Very
Yeah.
disappointing.
Yeah.
And I said to an older gentleman near me, and unfortunately there are not many of those around. Then it's like, where is everybody? He says, they just don't draw that well. Typically, maybe 2,000 a night if they're lucky.
Yeah, that sounds
So-
about right.
So, and we'll get into this, and this has been a common theme us three have had for the last month, the downside of baseball and the reasonings behind it. Now, Duke, keep in mind, this is the lowest level minor league baseball you can get, the short season.
The lowest level? I don't think that's correct.
This is the lowest level.
They've got the rookie
No,
leagues.
they're lower. They're
and that
lower. I mean,
before
it's
that.
about
There's-
the lowest, but
yeah.
there's
Okay, all right.
It's
second
close.
lowest.
It's close.
Second lowest.
Yeah, second or third.
near
Okay.
the bottom.
Yeah.
There's no
Short
television.
season, single A. There's no television. I bet there's been no radio last couple of years.
Do you know
Well,
what-
they do.
radio.
They have it on.
Can you stream it or something?
Well, you can't. You can stream the radio, but it's and they also air it on 960 The Zone AM.
Are you sure? Because
Yeah.
they didn't have any last year. You positive
I'm
of that?
pretty sure they do.
Because they didn't have it last year.
They didn't on
No?
960?
I heard the Sports Huddle guys. They didn't mention it. I don't think
Really?
there was no radio
I
last year.
thought for sure because and they have the sign up on their on the press
Well, that
box. and
just may be
everything, so
advertising for the
it
station.
might be, but
There was no
Yeah,
regular
that's-
radio last season.
Yeah,
I
that's
hope you're
insane
right,
if
but I
they
don't
don't,
think
yeah.
you are.
So, Duke,
that just wouldn't make
again,
sense.
no
not
television.
broadcast.
So you don't have.
No, forget
those
television.
long-
Television,
So-
you can stream a video feed online, but you have to. It's paid.
Yeah.
You have to pay like $40 for a yearly subscription.
So the Monsters score in the bottom of the ninth via a walk, bases loaded, to win 5-4. Now, get this.
This almost went into
Get
extra
this.
innings.
You're right. Get this. A regular 9-inning game, 3 hours and
Kidding.
43 minutes for official time.
What was this, Red Sox
Now-
Yankees or something?
Now, I like baseball.
Kidding.
The
Okay.
mound visits were just
Those games are
insane.
usually pretty quick.
Duke, I had my fill. There was a second game, and
Right.
Everybody left.
my belly was telling me at 10 o'clock at night, it's time for breakfast at Denny's, which I did do.
I went
when
by
we-
Denny's today. I thought of you.
Yeah, when we left, it was like everybody left.
Yep.
Now, Nick told me before the start of the show, him and his little brother stayed, and there was maybe 50 people that
50
stayed.
to 100, yeah.
Maybe a few
Yeah,
more, but
just-
nobody.
And you know what's so stupid? Stupid on the Monsters' part. Apparently, they have kids run around the bases after
Yeah,
the
when
game.
they announced this, I laughed
no,
so hard.
Listen to this. Okay, before I forget, everything is sponsored. Nick is picking his nose, and that's brought to you by Kleenex tissue. Okay, the Nighthawk just had a heart attack, dropped dead. That's brought to you by Heal Funeral. There must have been 100 brought to you. There was nothing they didn't do. Okay, they had a little kid scrub the plate off with a giant toothbrush.
Yeah.
Brought to you by Northeast Dental Care.
It's like they're getting as bad as a major league
it was
baseball broadcast.
ridiculous.
Yeah.
Really?
Okay.
Wow.
Now,
And they
the
did the
worst thing, and before I forget, I get to my seat, and there's netting all the way. I go, what the heck
I
is
mean, all the way.
all the way?
Yep.
Is that right?
It goes,
Because you know
yeah.
when you and I go, we usually sit in the third base side, up top row.
Top row.
All the way.
I knew there was
So,
more netting. But
I
all
saw
the way.
Channel 3 with the GM, can't remember his name.
Kyle Boswick, St.
He's the vice president of the team. He's not the GM.
Sorry, he's VP.
Yeah.
Okay.
Now,
sorry. We
The
should get Kyle on
GM
the
is
show
explaining now, a family doesn't have to watch every pitch. So if they're having a conversation, they don't have to get worried about get hit by a ball. And you know me, Duke.
Precisely the
You know
problem
me,
with
Duke.
baseball.
Exactly. How many times have I told you, brashly, somebody gets hit by a ball, big deal, they deserve it, because they're not watching the ball
Because the
game.
Red Sox, as I think you know, were very recently in the
Yeah.
news with a fan who was up in one of the, I guess, luxury boxes, and they'd taken the glass out.
Yeah.
Got hit with some pretty serious injuries, and that went to a suit. And
The Red Sox
Red
won,
Sox
yeah.
won it.
Yeah. Well, I told you, I think it was last year or the year before.
Wow, so the netting is all the way.
Yep, it's all the way to the end of the
Grandstand.
stands. Yeah.
So I was in Baltimore a couple years ago, and 38 miles from Nats Park, and I said, the Nats are there. I'm going to go see the Nats play.
Yep.
And I said, price is no issue. How many times am I in D.C.? So I bought a great seat, maybe 24 rows behind the dugout. About 2 weeks later, I find out the Nats, like a lot of major league teams, have extended their netting right to the end of the dugout. So here I am paying whatever for this ticket, watching a game through a net, and could not get used to it. The Monsters net didn't appear to be that
I didn't.
bad.
I always
but
like to
again,
sit behind home plate anyway, but I didn't really have a problem with it all that much. I mean, it is. I definitely get what you're saying about how you need to pay attention to the game, but I mean, at the same time, like the majority of the people that go to Lake Monsters games are probably between like 2 to 12
your
years
kids
old.
are obviously not paying.
They're not going to pay attention to every single pitch, and
I do.
this is professional baseball.
You're not your typical baseball fan, I'm
This is
afraid.
professional baseball at the end of the day. So these balls are going to be coming in there really quick. So I think it's safe because the last thing you want to see is some little kid that's less than 10 years old getting hit by a line drive foul ball.
that.
And I don't think that the netting is it new? Yeah, and is it kind of a distraction at first? I guess, but I mean, I think that it's worth not having anyone getting
lawsuit.
hurt by it.
Yeah.
I have my usual.
and
about
more
just
than a
about
lawsuit,
everything.
just injury. I mean, at the end of the day, you don't want to see people getting hurt coming to a game where they're supposed to have
Right.
fun.
Well,
I got my usual mixed
again,
feelings about it.
I'm like, you're 19, say you're my kid, 10 years ago, you're 9 years old. Start with, you don't bring your tweet machine. Okay. And Nick, you're there to watch baseball.
Yep.
You want to talk to me? We're going to be talking baseball for the
Yep.
next 3+ hours. And I get it. Little kids go blah, blah, blah. But to me, you teach them this is baseball. Used to be America's pastime.
Yeah.
Watch the game. And I rambled on and I forgot what I was going to say about the kids running the bases.
Kids running the bases.
Okay.
What
Brought
a
to you
joke.
by, I can't remember what bank.
Is that right? So
Something.
everything
Something.
was
Okay,
sponsored.
so they
then?
said, due to the lateness of this game, and we want to get the second game started, of course, I had to chalk the field and
Yeah.
rake the infield.
Yeah.
They said, we'll do it after the second game. And everybody went,
After
oh,
the-
you got to be kidding.
after
After
this-
game two.
Everybody started laughing. You know what time the
Right.
second game finished?
I looked,
Obviously,
I'm guessing,
It was
midnight,
past. It was past 12:40 at night.
Yeah.
or
Were
in the
you
morning.
there for the whole second game?
No, me and my brother left at about 11. Our goal for the second game was to catch a foul ball. We did that. And then we got
Did
out
you
of
really?
it.
You got a foul
Yeah,
ball?
yeah, we
so
got
Nick,
one.
so during the game, I was under the impression, being a doubleheader, that game one, even though they had 7 pitches the night before, they were going to convert it to a 7-inning game.
Yeah.
I would have guessed.
I'm
the
sure
same
that's
thing.
that's a
After-
rule.
Why
though,
didn't
you know?
they?
I
Why
don't-
didn't
After
they
the
do
top
that?
of the 7th, I thinking said, in the net or not, the Lake Monsters win the game, blah, blah. And players run the field. I said, what the heck is going
Yeah,
on
That's
here?
weird to me too.
No, I think probably what ended up happening was
Well, because it wasn't an official.
It's an official, like the game started
The
as a
game
9-inning
started. It
game,
wasn't an official,
so it's
even
gotta
though
be
7. Why
Okay.
did they even start? Why did the
Right.
forecast
All right.
was
Right, it was
terrible? Why did
terrible.
they even
Okay, and
bother
at
having
the
that game?
very least, and I said they should have started 3:05. I'll concede. Let's go
I
4:05.
thought they usually
should have
started those 29ers at
4:05.
Yeah, I mean,
5:05 too.
At
Why
the end of
did
the
they
day,
wait till 6?
it's 100% whoever scheduled that game's fault. You cannot have a double header with the first game starting at 6 o'clock.
I thought they. I thought
mean,
when
even
they had
if the-
double headers,
even if
they
the
did
game
5
goes-
5 o'clock too.
Yeah,
5:05.
even if that first game goes kind of short, let's say it goes 2 hours 15 minutes, you're still not even starting the next game
Yeah.
until 9 o'clock.
That's
Listen,
insane.
I don't care
Insane.
if Babe Ruth, Lou Gehrig,
Yeah.
Joe DiMaggio was playing game 2.
Right.
Insane.
Of course, I had to watch the Nats game when I got home. I recorded it, which I did do. But it was enough.
Yeah.
And I was down to my folks today, mowing the lawn and telling him it was 3 hours, 43 minutes. And he's telling me, and my father's like 83, he goes, be honest with you, watching baseball now, by the 4th inning, I'm bored with it. It's just,
Well,
Why
the
was the
problem
first
was
game so? What was
there
going on
there
in
was
the
so
first
many
game?
mound visits.
Yeah.
I mean,
Really?
both pitchers were not really on their game. They walked a lot of batters,
Yep.
and I would say every 3rd or 4th batter, either the pitching coach came out or the catcher
Really?
would walk the ball back, and the infield would come in. It was just a complete mess, and the game was sitting there. It was getting past 9 o'clock, and they're still just taking their time out there. And for that first game to end on a walk-off walk, just summed it up perfectly. I thought.
What a break that! So this game
Yeah.
just about went into extra. innings.
absolutely.
Exactly. Yeah.
And again, I'm
Vermont-
starving, and it was Jesus somebody.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
I was saying, calling him Jesus, God's
Yeah.
only son.
Yeah.
If you're really God, make sure you get a run.
So
I'm
did
hungry.
you bolt after the first game, or just stay for a bit?
I did a Hussein Bolt out
Yeah.
of there. Yeah.
Yeah, and it just doesn't make sense, especially this is a thing where the Lake Monsters' biggest draw, like I said, is kids. Well,
Tug night too.
right, like who in their right mind is gonna let their kid stay for an entire second game that starts at 10:30
And again,
when
it
most
was a
kids are already
close
in
game
bed?
the whole game.
Right.
And there were people filtering out starting the 6th inning. And to Nick's point, if you're bringing a 10-year-old kid trying to get him involved, the freaking kid is going to fall asleep.
Exactly.
It was just it. So
I gave my brother a Cracker Jack and some root beer, and he was okay for a little while because he got that sugar rush. But I'm telling you, as soon as we got back to the car, he was out like a light.
Hawk, you were there with your nephew?
No, with my buddy Mike.
Oh,
so
sorry,
I
Mike.
got a Frosty, $4 for a beer.
Not bad.
Which not a bad price. But let me just piggyback, and if you want to get back to Centennial.
Jeez, I should have gone down.
Yeah, I mean, it's a good price to get 2 games in, but
Like I said,
I mean, it was just poorly put together.
Yeah. And this is from the USA Today. And I don't have the headline in front of me, but it was something like baseball is in trouble and it's getting worse. In an era where athletes are bigger, stronger, and faster than their predecessors, something has dreadfully gone wrong with our glorious pastime. Players are striking out more than at any time.
Thank you.
An alarming 22.5% of all plate appearances. We are on pace for more strikeouts than hits, 18,613 strikeouts compared to 18,136 hits entering today's action. Or actually, I said entering today's non-action. The National League, which I did not know this, and tell me after I'm done reading, which is expected to adopt the DH in the next 5 years, which is news to me, has only four.
I haven't heard that
Has
anywhere.
only 4 teams with more hits than strikeouts. The Arizona D-backs have the lowest batting average in all of baseball at 227, with 135 more strikeouts than hits, and yet they're in first place in the National League West. The Milwaukee Brewers have been shut out a major league leading 10 times, produced a paltry .316 on base percentage, and have grounded out into more double plays than any other team in the National League, and they're in first place in the Central. The Cleveland Indians are the only team in the division, the AL Central, with a winning record, a division that's so putrid that it's been outscored by a cumulative 230 runs. Now, this is really neat, Duke. A staggering 41 position players who appeared in last night's games were batting 200 or less.
Really?
41 players.
41?
The disparity between the have and have-nots among teams have never been greater. There are 5 teams with winning percentages under 400 and 4 teams that are on pace to win 100 games that would be unprecedented marks should they hold up.
Wow.
It's sucking the life out of any suspense in the American League unless you're a lover of playoff seeding. The New York Yankees, Boston Red Sox, Houston Astros, and Cleveland Indians can virtually set their playoff rotations right now with playoff probabilities of at least 96% for each team. And Duke, if you're wondering why attendance is down 6.5 at this point this year, the average attendance to date is 27,675, which would be the lowest since 1996.
Really?
And that's just, if you remember, it was coming off the 1994 strike, and that's when the steroids really
All right,
started.
the lowest since 96?
Yeah, with 18 teams who have attendance in decline from a year ago, they may make up the gap during the summer months. These are 5 teams' attendance that have plummeted more than 200,000 fans. Now, the Toronto Blue Jays, who have an retractable roof, are down a major league worst 430,000 fans, over 11,000 fewer fans per game.
11,000 per game?
Yeah, the Blue Jays. And the
But not
game,
a
the
horrible
game
team.
is simply void of action, with players striking out, walking, or hitting home runs in a 34% of their plate appearances. So for more than 1/3 of every game, there's not a fielder involved in any action. The average time between balls put in play, according to Sports Illustrated, is a staggering 3 minutes and 45 seconds.
I'm sorry, but we're talking between innings now?
No, average time between balls put in play. Say Nick came up and got a base hit. By the time I'm up to the plate,
three
yeah,
minutes and
I believe
something?
that absolutely.
Really?
And I could go on.
Makes sense.
Let's see.
Yeah, I guess.
It's
Wow.
unfortunate for sure. I mean,
It, I think I said here, some of the players, such as Washington All-Star Bryce Harper, are suggesting the games be reduced to 7 innings. It's just, and again, you
We've
and
been
I,
talking strikeouts for weeks.
we're doing a sport.
The strikeouts are just
we're doing a
killing
sports
it.
show. We obviously love sports.
Strikeouts
but-
are just taking a huge toll on
But
it.
I can honestly tell you, and the day I die, when I meet up with God, no purgatory for me, straight up to the big room. I'm going to tell God thanks for the invention of the DVR, because without the DVR, I'm not sure how much baseball I could watch. And I know you last week said you'll have the Red Sox on, but you'll be doing other things at the same time. To sit there and go through this malaise, is that good English?
Yeah, that's a good word.
It's crazy.
yeah.
And I'm telling you, last night,
Last night, though,
the Light Monster
unbelievable.
game,
What a
I had a good time with my buddy, good conversation. But for the most part, even on the tight game, it was boring.
Yeah, I mean, it wasn't
Like you said, a
really
lot of
exciting.
walks, a lot of
walks.
mound visits
Yep.
that apparently they don't adhere to major league rules.
But that sounds insane. I guess it must be because they had even one pitch. They had to do a 9 inning. But tell me, you can't have a little discretion? That's
Right.
insane to have made that
Well,
game
I
a
think
9 inning
I
game.
think them trying to get the game in on Monday
Right.
Monday was
So
the
the
was the
forecast was
problem.
horrible.
I mean, it
What are
rained
people?
all
The
day.
poor people who
Right.
show up, thinking
Yeah.
they got a 1 in 10 chance if they're
Yeah, like-
lucky of getting the
Yeah.
game in.
Exactly. Like,
Why did they even bother
people,
with that?
People like us, we show up from 30, 40 minutes out, and we drive all the way there, pay the price of admission, see 7 pitches, and
That
have to
was
leave.
really,
Like, that's
that just seems really stupid,
that's
right?
just
To have
not
not
good for
called that
anybody.
game early.
right.
And then to have 9 innings. I can't, there's not a little discretion in a rule about that?
Exactly. Yeah.
And I had every
And it should have
intention.
been I agree, a 5:05 start. 6:05?
Yeah,
Yeah.
I had every intention to watch the second game. Perhaps
Yeah,
not
me
all
too.
of it, but again, I had enough. I simply
Yeah, sure.
had enough. And again, I don't care if the greatest players of all time were
Sure.
playing game 2.
Right.
I was history.
Wow.
And
Wow.
I'm glad you were there because I was curious to how many people actually stayed for that second game.
Yeah, there wasn't many. So I mean, it was a good time to just go around and we went down and we sat in that field level seats right there behind home plate for a little bit, and then we went out and stood out in left field there where there was no screen for a little bit.
Yeah.
And sat behind the dugout for a little bit. So I just let my brother have fun
Yeah.
with the whole experience, and it was a good time. But obviously, it felt more like a high school game than a professional game.
Yeah.
I mean, I saw there was more people at the Linden State games
Yeah.
that I announced this year. So I think we might have had more people at the MVU
Yeah.
games at some point.
That's a good way of putting it. It didn't really have a professional feel.
No.
And kudos to the Lake Monsters. They keep a clean facility.
Yeah.
Of course,
25th year, they've been
and
quarter
the
century for the
Centennial
Lake
Field
Monsters.
is, as you know, the second oldest ballpark in the country.
Yeah.
I can't tell you the oldest ballpark
I
is.
can't either.
And I will make an effort to get down there, but it just was not a good first impression last night. And I told you, a few weeks ago that I've got to get down there. And as we said earlier, Nick,
I'll get down.
weather-wise last night,
No, perfect.
primo.
Oh yeah, great! It was,
So
it was awesome.
that's a disappointing crowd last night.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. And again, I told my buddy, and I told him, listen, I said, Mike, I owe you 90 minutes of your life.
For years they
because
were averaging about-
we could have walked in at 6 o'clock
Yeah.
and still got our toque.
Yeah.
All right.
So
Wow, that's right. Good reporting, guys.
Yeah.
yeah. So okay.
Yeah.
And staying on the diamond, of course, the Yankees and Red Sox in the what's new category, as expected, they're
Still chugging
Sox,
along.
right? Sox are just one game out.
Last night's game was
Well, bullpen,
Something.
a rare screw up by their late one.
Yeah.
Joe Kelly had a
Joe
tough
Kelly
night,
had a
huh?
rough game too.
And Chris, boy, here we go again. Poor Chris Sale. All he does is what? 7 innings, 2 runs, 11
Yep.
strikeouts. Gets a no decision. Could have been a loss. They were down 2-1
Right.
at one point.
Yeah.
Chris
Yeah, it
Sale,
was-
it drives me crazy.
Yeah, I was sitting there monitoring the game on my phone throughout the Lake Monsters game, and I saw, oh look, Chris Sale threw 4 innings as a no hitter. Chris Sale threw 5 innings as a no hitter, and then I checked it out like
So
20,
sixth
30
inning, they
minutes
got 2
later,
runs in the
and then they
sixth.
got 2 runs in the 6th.
I
and
saw Escobar get
yeah, and
2
then I
run
got
double.
home and I saw that they lost 6-2, and I was like, wow.
Yeah,
He's just got
I've got to
no
say
help.
too, as I mentioned, I got home. Of course, I watched my news and Tucker Carlson programs, blah blah blah. So probably 1 in the morning, I start watching the Nats,
Yeah.
and I'm lying there in my king size bed with my 3 fluffy pillows, with my big screen high def TV, and I'm saying, you know what, this ain't a bad way to watch a ball game either. And I think a lot of that overall has hurt sports just with
Yep.
the advent of the big screen TV. And instead of paying $4 for beer, you can go down to your refrigerator and probably averages 80 cents.
Yeah, but
beer.
But from looking at what happened last night, I do want to ask you guys, with Kimbrel coming up as a free agent this year.
Yeah.
Word on the street, he's going to get anywhere from
Well,
12 to 18 million.
You know what Hawk's going to tell you. Why would they pay a closer big money? That's
And
what Hawk
a lot of people have been saying, let's get Joe Kelly in there. But after last night,
That's one night, though, but
Yeah.
Joe Kelly, since the first game of the season,
Well-
when he got touched up, has been unbelievable. Hey, it's one game.
Okay.
Kimbrel has screwed up three or so games this year.
Yeah, and at this point, I think
What's the talk on Kimbrel? How much money? 10 mil a year for
12 to 18 mil a year.
That's
12 to 18 mil a year?
Yeah.
Hawkeye, something
And he's
tells me
30
you
he's
wouldn't be
32
paying
years
that,
old
right?
as
well, again,
But I still love a good closer.
okay.
Hawk will throw some no names at
Right.
us.
Who's the leading save guy, Duke, in the American League this year?
Sure, couldn't
Is it
tell
still
you.
Enrique Diaz of Seattle?
That would be Edwin Diaz. Enrique's
Edwin
his little
Diaz,
brother.
yep.
So Edwin Diaz.
My
Okay.
apologies.
Of course, you got Kimbrel Chapman, we know of. Number 4, Shane Green from Detroit.
The Red Sox have actually been in talks of
Okay.
acquiring him. So.
And I'm going to give Duke a huge hint. The number 5 save guy, Duke, in the American League for
Craig
Texas.
Kimbrel. Oh, for Texas.
I don't even know if
I don't pay-
I'm trying to read
Okay.
it. I don't recognize
Keon
the name.
Keela. Okay.
It's on the tip
He's
of
on
my tongue.
Texas, isn't he?
Right, he's on
Okay.
Texas. Okay, the point being, Craig Kimbrel is great, no doubt about it. But he's a one-inning, non-pressure pitcher in the 9th inning. If Craig Kimbrel was on my team, I would put a fireman hat on him. Whether he goes in the 6th, 7th, or 8th, that's when he's pitching because he is your best reliever. In the National League, who's the National League leading save guy?
Kenley
clue.
Jansen.
You are incorrect. From the Padres, big hint,
I don't know anybody on the Padres.
Brad Hand.
Brad
okay.
Hand.
So are you going to
Okay.
give Kimbrel? I mean,
I'm
just
not-
depends.
Personally, I'm not.
the
gonna
Red
pay
Sox are
Kimbrel.
$30 million over
Exactly,
the cap.
yep.
Do
And that's
they
the
want
big
to
part of
pay
it.
18 million? You know, maybe 15 for 5 years, $75 million
Question.
Yeah, I'm
contract.
definitely letting Kimbrel walk at this point.
So you got
maybe trading
Wade
him,
Davis
but-
2, Sean Doolittle 3, Kelly Jansen 4, Brandon Moreau number 5. And again, these aren't ironclad guys that absolutely have to come back. Now,
Right.
in the same vein, the Kansas City Royals reliever, Kevin Herrera.
Yep.
Okay, great pitcher, 1.05 ERA. Lo and behold, traded to the Washington Nationals. Now,
really?
the Royals are absolutely phenomenally horrible,
Yep.
and they're doing the right thing. Herrera's a free agent after this year, and you know me, Nick, I'm always saying, why in the heck are you waiting until July 31st? If you have a need, go out and get it right now.
Right.
And the Nats, listen to this, they didn't give up much. They gave their 10th, 11th ranked minor league player and a 17-year-old Latino guy that I know nothing about. And Herrera went in the 8th inning last night, his first appearance, got 3 outs and 6 pitches. So,
Jeez,
so
yeah.
that will boost your.
And yeah, that's big, especially for the Red Sox, Yankees, Astros, Indians. I think it's even bigger for them because, like, at this point, the race is so close that you need to find that person that can really get you above and beyond everybody else. So
Yeah.
you know, that's going to be big, and you know, Machado might play into that. Shane Green might play
Well,
into that. So
Machado is a guy I'm waiting for to get traded like
Right.
yesterday. Again, don't wait till July 31st. Now, I know some people will say, well, his value will go up the longer, you know, seeing a team may still be in contention.
Yeah.
However, it's still 6 weeks away till July 31st.
Yeah.
Is get him right away.
well, the problem with Machado is that
There is no problems with Machado.
Well, there is though, because you know he's got, I believe, a year left on his contract.
He's a
so-
free agent.
Or is he a free agent?
Oh yeah,
So, okay,
because
and that's
Harper's
that's
a
big
free
because-
agent, but Machado's a more valuable piece than Bryce Harper. is.
Yeah, and for Machado, I mean, you got to look at him like there's more likely than not, you're only going to get maybe a month or two of this guy. How much are you going to be willing to give up for that? And
I
that's,
sure wouldn't. I wouldn't
right.
be giving up.
And that's where a lot of teams are standing. You know, the Orioles are going to have to find a contender that's going to want him. And when 2 of the best teams in the league are in their same division, and you know, an inter-division trade is probably unlikely.
But
You know,
Nighthawk, you would say for the Red Sox, I mean, a team.
Oh, I disagree. What the Orioles
Wouldn't
care?
you say to the Red Sox,
if Machado
hey, do
goes-
whatever you have, sell your soul to get him? Isn't that your line for the Red Sox?
Well, the Red Sox are playing at a 662 clip. They're telling me that this is a pretty good ball club, and they're telling me that not only are obviously a playoff team, but a serious World Series contender. And of course, a Yankee fan sitting next to me could say, well, ditto for the Yankees, and completely agree. If they decide Devers isn't the guy they want for the rest of the season, I mean, Machado would, and the Red Sox are scoring runs. They're third in the league in
for
scoring.
the record, they lost
Right.
another 1-0
Right.
game the other
But
night. which
Machado
they do
would put them
periodically.
closer to par with the Bronx Bombers
I
if
agree with
they're
that.
interested.
But the last thing
Yeah,
I want to do,
they
you
just have to
give
give
up
him so
Devers
much.
and God knows what else to get a
And-
guy for a
But
few months.
as far as the
See, I
American
wouldn't,
League is
I wouldn't do
concerned,
that. Wouldn't
Yeah,
cross my mind.
I don't think the Red Sox.
I don't think they're
even
going.
should
I don't think
consider
they
it.
would.
I wouldn't
do it.
even. I
Right.
wouldn't even make a call.
Don't even talk to
But
me.
the thing about, as I mentioned earlier, reading that article, put a stamp on it. The American League season is done.
Yep.
It's done. Houston will win that
I think
division.
it's between Seattle
Seattle?
and Los Angeles for that last wild card
Well,
spot.
the Angels are 9.5. I didn't realize they were that far. The Mariners only 2 back, so they're
Yeah.
7.5 games up. So quite honestly, it's going to be the Mariners, Red Sox, or Yankees for the wild card. And as we discussed last week, Red Sox or Yankees, if either one of them the wild card and win, they're playing each other in the first round.
So American League, it really
Yeah,
looks like
it's done.
it's done.
It really
pretty-
is done.
yeah,
For all
it's
intents
sad,
and purposes, there is absolutely no need for anybody who's a casual fan to
Interesting.
watch another American League baseball
Wow.
game for the rest of the year. Because the
Interesting.
only thing to be decided is who's going to win the AL East, Sox or Yanks.
Wow.
Yeah, and how far ahead is how far ahead are New York and Boston over Houston as well?
As far as winning percentage,
Well, just like game, yeah.
well, Houston, of course, lost last night, but they've been on a rampage. They have a
Yeah.
653, so that's a half game there. They're a half game behind Boston, and they're a game and a half behind
Yeah.
the Yankees.
So-
Now, it's an easy statement to say by the end of the season, Houston will have a better record than the Yankees or Red Sox, and I agree with that. Now, with that being said, that will change the complexion of the first round of the playoffs.
Right.
Say the Yankees are the wild card team and the Yankees win against the Mariners, then the Yankees will play the Astros in
Yeah.
the first round.
Yep.
And the Red Sox will end up playing Cleveland, which I don't
Cleveland,
want to see that again. By the way, Mr. Kluber today, boy, just tell you the difference of how baseball has changed. He went 7 innings, double-digit strikeouts,
Yeah.
Really?
1 hit, and he doesn't finish the game. Now,
Yeah.
of course, they won 10-0, and I know the trend now is rest the arms, but
Well, especially in a
Corey
game like
Kluber,
that.
I mean, it's going to be a blueprint of last year's Cy Young, Scherzer.
But
and
Chris Sale, he
Kluber.
never got. I think he's just maybe like 5-4 at this point, record-wise.
He started at 5
Yeah.
and
You
4.
look,
yeah.
you look
Yeah.
at a no decision
Yeah.
last night. You look at his record. Well, he's not. God, I feel so bad for
Yeah,
Chris
Sale
Sale.
is, but it's and Alex Cora put it perfectly. I mean, it's not really been a big problem for them because you look at Eduardo Rodriguez.
Eduardo's having the year that Pomeranz had last year.
He's 9-1, a 3.5 ERA. So like the games that the Red Sox aren't winning for Chris Sale, they are winning for Eduardo Rodriguez.
Yeah,
That's just baseball.
Yep.
Every year, there's one player on the staff that gets the plethora of the runs, and then another guy that gets nothing.
Well, speaking of the Red Sox, I saw a Pedroia headline the other day, and not sounding good. And I think you guys may have been talking about that. Do we
Well,
even see him again?
Yeah.
I
said
think,
just
I think
far,
it's
far
time-
from coming
I think
back.
it's time for the Red Sox to just cut
Cut
their
bait.
losses and either
That would be a
designate him
painful guy to cut
or
bait to.
or try to trade him for some prospect.
Duke,
because
how many
he's done.
years? He's still got a number of years
Yeah.
left.
He's got
in
at
his
least,
contract.
at least a couple,
Oh,
3
I'm
more.
thinking at least 4 left in his contract.
Yeah, yeah.
Sure,
and
I don't think
he's-
it's more than 4. Is it
Yeah,
that many?
I think it's at 4. But you look at Pedroia and
Wow.
and you look at the race in the American League, especially the AL East. You can't have anybody dragging you down. And right now, Pedroia is dragging the Red Sox down. And I wasn't. I was kind of aware of the 07 title, and I was fully around for the 13 title. So I know what Dustin Pedroia means to the Red Sox. I mean, I've grown up as a baseball fan watching him play. So I mean,
Oh, there's no
just-
doubt,
Same
Nick.
here.
The Red
he's
Sox,
so important.
Nobody plays the game harder than
the
No.
Red Sox will retire his
Right.
number. There's no doubt
Exactly,
in my mind.
but you've got to
Maybe
make
making
a
him
move.
a coach seems like
Yeah.
a natural. Hey, make him
Oh, yeah.
a first
He's
base
too
coach or
hot-headed.
something.
But you could, but I mean, you've just got to do something. You
Yeah.
can't let this keep going on. You've got to clean up that space with the money there. You've
Wow.
you got to clear up that roster spot, and just make sure, just get rid of all the uncertainty that comes with second base right now, because the Red Sox, like, they don't know who their second baseman's going to be in October. So that's just something you've got to get figured out. You got to get your team that's going to make that playoff run. You got to assemble that team now, not in July 31st.
Wow.
So I think they've got to do
Well,
something
let me
about the
throw
Pedroia
this out
sooner
at
than
you.
later.
Could they pick Machado up, put him at short, and take Bogarts, put him at second? Machado's a much better defender than Bogarts is.
Technically,
Yeah,
yes,
Bogarts
but
has been playing a better. He's been playing a decent shortstop.
technically,
I can't imagine they're doing. They're
Yeah,
not
I
picking
just-
up Machado.
I think
No
I
way.
think
Well, there
Machado's
is no rumor out there for
Yeah,
him.
I just
way.
don't think that the
Not
Machado
happening.
trade makes sense for the Red Sox.
Yeah.
Like,
And it probably doesn't,
Yeah.
but again, the bottom line is it probably makes no sense for any American League team since we already know
Yeah.
who's going to win.
Globe headline today: Devers 21 is a rare talent, so I would Sox trade him. Assuming
Well,
they
that's
did
what I've been
Machado.
saying all along.
And again,
so.
he's
Although I'm not sold, he's a Hall of
right,
Famer, but he looks
right.
like a pretty
He-
good player.
But he is 21. If you just
Yeah.
throw him
Had a
back
home
in
run last night.
in Rhode Island for even 2 years,
Yeah.
23 is still a
No, he looks
good
like a
prospect.
very good, very good
Nick,
player.
a question for you. I heard this, and I've read this first, that the New York Metropolitans started the season 11-1.
Yeah.
Okay, and I said to myself, well, I didn't realize this team was that good. I know they had some good young pitching, but they're now at 31-39. So take that 11-1 start, that puts them at 20-38. So basically winning 1 out of 3 games.
Yeah.
I heard that whoever you want the Mets, you can have, including one of the very best top 5 pitchers in baseball by Jacob deGrom.
Yep.
He's 30 years old, and the logic, which makes sense, is when his turn is up for free agency, the Mets will be in no position to be a playoff contender. So
Yeah.
why give deGrom $35 million a year when you won't even be a 500 team? I heard, and correct me if I'm wrong, the New York Yankees are kicking the tires with the New York Mets.
and they are, but you know,
Yeah, why not?
Buster only said this.
And I
on,
know the Yanks, Nick, have a strong minor league.
yeah,
They would have the prospects.
yeah, and it makes sense everywhere. It makes sense. But you know, Buster only the other day. I was listening to him on that show on 101.3, the
Sports
Huddle.
Huddle.
He was on there, and he said, you know, everything makes sense here, but the Mets just don't make sensical
That's true.
decisions
Yeah.
as a major league team. They just don't do what they should. Every time this situation comes up, they do the absolute wrong thing. So I fully believe that nobody on the Mets is going to get traded, or if anyone, the complete wrong people.
Well, they would love to get rid of Cespedes, who's an injury-prone
Yeah.
player.
Yeah.
You know, he still can hit, but he's never on the field. And the other player, he's on the DL right now, and deGrom is 30, is Noel Syndergaard, Thor. You know, he's got
Yeah.
long hair. He's 25 years of age, and
That's the guy they've got to hold on to.
he would get a boatload of
Yeah.
prospects. But again, the new age of baseball is if you're not going to contend and you're going to wipe the slate clean, is you traded deGrom, you traded Syndergaard because, again, by the time they get to free agency, they're still going to be a bad ball club.
Yeah. It's hard to
the
believe that the
Yankees
Mets
are hurt
were
with
so good
Tanaka
just a couple of years ago.
we laughed about it last week, getting 2 pulled hamstrings by running the bases.
Yeah.
So, and Duke, I mentioned earlier in the article, Nick nor I have heard about it, where the DH will be adopted by the National League within 5 years. That is absolute
sorry.
complete news to me.
Yeah, I
I heard, I did hear a
anything
little
about
talk about that lately. I'm only sorry the American League doesn't go the other way.
Right.
Good luck the way baseball's going.
Yeah.
Is that, I did hear a reference to, there was more talk, I didn't hear anything that definitive. This is somebody predicting this, Hawk?
That was just in the article, so
But the way
there's
we're
no
talking-
name
Yeah.
put to it.
Yeah.
Of course, it's funny we're mentioning, we need more offense, we need more excitement. Yeah, a lot of excitement these days with everybody striking out all the time.
Yeah.
Hey, pitchers, at least pitchers can bunt. I think you can almost make the case, hey, at least pitchers have maybe half a brain
Right.
and can put down
And
some
when-
decent bunts as opposed to these position players who seem to have no clue about what a bunt
And
is.
what's more exciting than seeing a pitcher hit a home run as well?
Oh,
That-
like,
But the strategy, I mean, the
Right.
strategy of the
Right.
National League, I mean, American League, I mean,
yeah,
I
there's nothing
literally
left to do.
could manage an American League
Yeah.
team.
I
I would
hear you.
bring some hot dogs and probably a book. Yeah, I'd fill out my lineup card.
Slight exaggeration, but yeah, I
But,
hear you.
I mean, what challenge does an American League manager have with his pitching staff?
Where's that
Yeah.
Pedroia story?
And of course, in the National League, one thing you see all the time is the manager manage.
Yeah.
Double switches and stuff like that.
Yeah.
But my biggest complaint, well, I have a lot of complaints about baseball, but there's just too many runs won by the home run.
Yeah.
And it's,
Hey, Earl Weaver would be loving it, right?
that was Earl Weaver. He would
Three-run
smoke-
homer in a cloud of dust.
No, you weren't around Earl Weaver. Here's a guy, he'd have a smoke and he'd cup his hand and he'd have a cigarette going all the time.
And would
in the
just slug
dugout.
it out. I mean, he'd just go crazy with umpires. He'd get tossed, just throw dirt on there. I mean, he was a very entertaining.
Dude, and that's another thing.
He had some good pitching there for some of his years.
Older folks like us
Yeah.
will remember Earl Weaver and Billy Martin.
Yeah.
They put fun getting thrown out. But with the advent of replay, the manager doesn't have to go
Yeah.
out and say, you missed that call.
Yeah.
He has to have his bench coach check, hold his hand up, wait.
Yeah, right. Good
And
point.
I don't know how many 30 seconds they have or whatever.
Yeah.
Right.
And there's no managers that get thrown out anymore. There's no
Right.
confrontations at the plate.
Not often.
No,
Yeah.
not often. So
Yeah, and that's a big part of baseball as well. So, yeah, it's not in a direction that people would want to see for sure.
yeah.
Like I keep saying, but the strikeout, I'm telling you, every game I listen to, it just takes more of a toll on me.
Yeah.
When I'm hearing, again, my guys, I'm listening to Red Sox and some Yankees, but just a strikeout, just ridiculous to me.
I watch my games every night.
And the managers
keep
and
my mouth
GMs
shut.
supposedly don't care about this?
But when I have a runner at third base,
Really?
and just hit a ball, ground ball to the second baseman or
Right.
fly ball. That's all you have to do.
Really?
I go berserk. I said, this. I'm not even asking you to be a hero. Hit a
Right.
ground ball, second
Yeah.
baseman.
The old RBI ground out.
I think just sports in general, we've talked about all these issues, maybe not together. I just think sports in general, the sports I love are taking a hit. Baseball, it's the strikeouts for me.
Yeah.
NBA, I mean, we've talked about this some, the three-point shot. As you mentioned, Hawk, a center, why would you want a big center these days? What good's a center going to do you?
Right.
I just think basketball's gone three-point shot crazy, insane.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That hurts.
Hey, Nick, this is what you call in the business a segue. Did you just say basketball? Is the NBA draft tomorrow night?
Most certainly is.
So
That's getting a lot of attention.
yeah.
too.
Let me just finish up the baseball because, and again, American League, forget about it. National League is good. There are some races. Atlanta is ahead of Washington by 3, up on the Phillies by 3.5. It looks like Atlanta is the real deal. They have some very good young pitching. The Cubbies and the Brew Crew in a virtual tie in the Central. And the D-backs have a 2-game lead on the Dodgers and 4.5 game lead on the Giants.
So National League's got some more.
Oh, National
way
League's actually
more.
pretty good this year.
Yeah.
Very good. And nobody expected Atlanta to be that good this
Leonard,
year.
I'm sorry we're not hearing from golfing Leonard these days. Leonard's got to be
Leonard's out
pretty
there
psyched.
with
Huh?
David Handy golfing.
Well, did you?
I did make a reference in my column, Nick, which I don't think you read yet, but I made a reference that you're a regular summer subbing for the golfing Dave Handy. Hope Dave appreciates that.
I did read your article today.
Well, I tell you, a book I recommend to anybody out there is, and you like Howard Kurtzhawk.
Yeah.
I mean, the
I love-
president doesn't come out of
That's
this
a new book, yeah.
looking good. The media comes out of this looking maybe worse, if anything. I
Yeah.
think you'd appreciate that
Did you
book.
read that book?
Yeah, I read it.
Where'd you get
Reference
it?
In the library. At my suggestion, the St. Albans Library got it.
Okay.
Should be able to pick it up unless somebody else has grabbed it.
The best.
Thank you, Mary Pat Larrabee. She, at my suggestion, she got it.
How do I describe that program? News program?
The media buzz, a media critique
buzz,
program.
and they have really good guests. 11 o'clock
Of
Sunday
course,
morning.
CNN, and Howard Kurtz's old program
Yeah.
was reliable sources on CNN. And of course, now with Brian Stelter, that's opposite each
Yeah.
other. Wouldn't bother you, but anyway.
Yeah.
But no, that's a book. That's a book that wouldn't be a
book.
bad book to read.
Tucker Carlson's got a new book coming out
Oh,
here
yeah.
in the next month.
But
So,
Howard Kurtz's book, it's a pretty sobering book.
Yeah.
As a media guy on a tiny, minute scale, it's a tough
And
book.
my wife likes Howie Kurtz.
Yeah. He describes himself in the book as he said, of course he says, hey, some people will see me being pro-Trump. I'm not pro-Trump. I'm pro-media, and the media is taking a beating here, as is the president at times. But it's his typical,
Yeah.
very fair book. But anyway.
He's so smart and so well prepared
Yeah.
on his shows.
He's a graduate of SUNY University of Buffalo.
That I
Sounds
did
like
not
grew
know.
up in, I think, Brooklyn, and not your high heel part of Brooklyn. But anyway, very, very good guy.
So, are you guys going to be watching the NBA draft tomorrow night? I know the Celtics.
Probably.
You're a Celtic fan?
Yeah.
Being a Celtics
That's the
fan,
one. That's
we're
our.
picking
That's Hawks and I
27.
one team together.
However, I got word today. Well, I talked to Danny Ainge, but I wasn't supposed to say. The Celtics would like to jump into number 10, and when trader Danny,
Oh, is that right?
right? If you hear any rumor, that it probably is true.
And what are they prepared
A
to do to get
potential
up to
trade
10?
to watch here, Duke, are the Orlando Magic, who are very interested in attaining a point guard and have been reported to be a bit of a mystery in who they may be interested in. A potential package, which I believe will be fair, Terry Rozier.
So not Kyrie.
No.
Kyrie doesn't have much trade value,
Oh, is
just
that
being
right? Just
one.
with the 1 year thing.
2019 first round Sacramento pick,
Wow.
which I would assume will be a top 10.
Yeah.
Probably more likely
Maybe a top 5.
A lottery
Yeah.
pick, and the Celtics 27th pick this year. So that gives the Celtics a promising point guard, a potential lottery pick, and another first rounder attached to the roster. I think that is a fair trade.
Yeah.
Now, of course, in the news all week has been Kawhi Leonard, and I've been seeing a lot of potential matchup trades between the Celtics and the Spurs, and unfortunately, unless you want to do a Kyrie Irving straight up for Leonard, which I would do in a heartbeat, but Jaylen Brown is the name that comes to the forefront, and I hate to lose Jaylen Brown. Now,
Yeah,
my
for
issue
just
with
a
Kyrie
year.
Leonard is, and I think he said yesterday,
Oh, I don't know.
whether it's true or not, is doesn't make difference where I go.
Yeah.
I'm leaving after next year.
Yeah.
I'm signing with the
To go
Lakers.
with the Lakers, yeah.
And
Why are you gonna? Geez,
well,
for
what
1
I
year?
think will happen, he met with the guy I really hate, the head coach, Greg
Popovich,
Popovich.
Great coach.
He's
though.
a great coach.
Great
I just don't like him as a person. He met face to face. I think Popovich jumped on a plane and met with him.
Yeah.
And Leonard, just for the about 9th time, said, "I do not want to go back to San Antonio." But the obvious trade is trade him to the Lakers,
Yeah.
and you'll get D'Angelo Ball. Is that the kid's name?
Yeah, Lonzo.
They're Alonzo. They're
Yeah,
three brothers, and I get all mixed up with them. Unfortunately, you get the father with them.
Yeah.
And I've read too, the Lakers are just sick and tired
How could
of
they?
dealing
How could
with
they?
the
How could they?
father.
How could they not be?
Right.
And why would you knew that was coming.
Right.
Boy, the Celtics last year taking Tatum, not
Good-
dealing with.
good pick.
Just brilliant. Yeah.
Good. There might be another, as you know, Hawk. I was watching ESPN for a change, and they had their mock draft people. They had the Sixers grabbing my man Grayson Allen at 26, but the Celtics had him in for a
Celtics are-
workout.
the Celtics are
have
very
sounds like some
interested in
interest in
him, yeah.
Grayson.
Yeah.
If he's around, he might or might not.
Right.
Yeah, I've got them here, and these when they go that low, anything can happen.
Yeah.
I've got
Right.
Grayson Allen at 34 going to the Hawks.
that right?
But I told Duke the other
These guys
day.
had him. These guys, for the record, had him 26 going
Yeah.
to the Sixers.
I told him 34, 27. What difference may? You know what you're going to get with Grayson Allen. He had issues. He was better during his senior year with his temperament and all.
Very emotional
I think-
guy.
Oh yeah, but I think
Like
as a,
good
I think
shooter,
I
yeah.
wouldn't, you know, it doesn't hurt to have some emotion. I wouldn't
Right.
worry about that.
No,
Right.
you
I
know,
think he
right.
might be a useful player
Especially
for
in
somebody.
the NBA.
Yep.
It certainly wouldn't hurt to have a player on the team that actually cares.
Yeah.
Right.
So
A Globe front page sports story today, Hawk, to Kaiwi. Am I pronouncing his name?
Kawhi. Yeah.
Sorry, Kawhi. I knew that sounded
and Duke,
bad.
he is one
Sorry,
of the
thanks,
top
Ed.
5 players
To
in
Kawhi
basketball.
or not to Kawhi is the question.
Yeah.
Christopher Gasper in the Globe today.
And
Yeah.
what
Well, he
what
kind
was
of
his
goes. He
final
kind of
verdict?
goes. I haven't read the whole thing. He kind of goes back. Kind of gives the argument both ways, but I
Yeah.
haven't read it carefully.
Now, correct me if I'm wrong. Leonard's a free agent after the season, and
After-
Kyrie's a free agent after the season.
after one
Why
one
don't
more
we
season.
just? That's to me
Yeah.
a fair contract. Now,
I don't know.
Kyrie makes more than Kawhi.
Haven't you changed? Maybe I asked you this last week. Haven't you changed your opinion on Kyrie? I mean, you
Oh,
weren't
big
saying
time.
too long. But what changed? You knew he was
Oh.
here for just one more. Just the fact.
Terry Rozier
Oh, okay.
changed my
So
opinion.
just Terry Rozier.
Terry Rozier,
I mean, I think Kyrie's
tell
been
you
pretty
what,
consistent in what he's
and
said.
I don't know if Usain Bolt can dribble a basketball, but I would put my money on Terry Rozier in the race from one end to the court. There is nobody that can go down the court.
Oh, so
quicker.
that's simple. Just
Rozier,
Terry
I
being
think Rozier's ready.
a much better
And,
player than
You know,
anybody
we've got to
thought.
re-sign.
Even after Game 7, you think?
Well, he had a pretty
he
tough
laid an
game
egg.
7.
The whole team
Yeah.
laid
But yeah,
an
the
egg.
whole team.
Uh,
Jason didn't have a bad game 7.
yeah.
Yeah. Well,
but
Jason Tatum's a top 10 player in the league
now I
already,
read
I think.
3 teams are very interested in Marcus Smart. He is a restricted free agent, which I believe the Celtics can match.
Yeah.
Celtics can match
Well,
it.
the contract
what they
offered.
would do for the
Denver,
with Smart,
Indiana, and there's one other team.
what the Celtics would do with Smart is do a sign and trade where they would sign him to a contract and then trade him to a different team,
Okay.
and he would know that.
In that same vein, we were talking about the Lakers. That is what potentially Cleveland could and should be doing.
Yeah.
Because if LeBron goes to the Lakers, he's going to get what, like $80 million less
Yeah.
than signing with Cleveland. So what Cleveland could do is sign LeBron to a max deal,
Yeah.
then sign him to trade him to the Lakers
Yeah.
and get all the good young players from the Lakers. And keep in mind, Cleveland's got the 8th overall pick. And at mine, and I've been reading this all summer and spring, Wendell Carter from Duke,
Yeah.
who's a man-child.
He's good.
I think he
good.
probably won't be an all-star, but I think he's just going to be one of
He's
those players,
serviceable, yeah.
very steady, and
Yeah.
one of those type players where you would say, boy, I wish he was on my team.
Yeah, no, I
But
think
for
it
LeBron,
might
though,
be-
that could be a risk for LeBron simply because, what if you come in and you agree to sign with the Cavs and get traded to LA, but then the trade falls through, then you're stuck with the Cavs, and it's pretty clear at this point that he doesn't want to be
I
there.
would guess they would have a handshake agreement where that contract is null and void, perchance something does fall through.
Yeah.
I think LeBron will take care of his assets better than that. So now Duke, number 2, well, number 1 is DeAndre Alton.
Yep,
Now,
from Arizona.
Arizona is 7'1", and he's going to Phoenix, so it's a match made in heaven. Now, one thing before I go on here, I'm reading with a new CBA coming up in a couple of years that this one and done may be eliminated,
Yep.
where these college fakers like
Yeah.
go to school and go
Yeah.
to class, the Marvin Bagleys, all those Duke
Yep.
players can skip going to where do they play?
Ben Simmons,
Yeah.
Where's Duke play? What town?
Oh.
Durham, North
Durham.
Carolina.
Right.
Yeah.
North Carolina's in Chapel Hill, right?
Yeah.
So, but all these one and dones, which has made an understatement, a complete mockery of college basketball, and that just let them go. Okay, they're 18 years old.
You can go to the
It's
league,
like working at Hannaford's, working at Global
They're talking
Industries.
about having maybe more of a developmental league if they do
Yeah.
that. There is one now that you don't hear too
the
much.
G
it's-
League.
yeah.
Yeah.
You got to get like TV. You got to get a TV deal with that. You got to get you got to get more. You got to get bigger arenas, bigger payrolls for these teams, and it's going to be a slow process. But the G League is making improvements, but. All that stuff needs to happen
Obviously
before.
not a good system.
Yeah.
Geez, it's not the easiest thing to do.
yeah.
There's no
I
magical.
think college basketball is talking to the commissioner saying,
Right.
we have a horrible product right now. Now, Duke, for example, if they kept these guys, for 4 years, they'd, without a doubt, go undefeated.
And,
And
look at Villanova.
this year's-
Villanova did keep a bunch
Right.
of those guys,
Thank
and they've
you.
won 2 out of the last 3
Right.
national
And
championships.
again, Duke this year never has happened. They have the top 3 prospects
Absurd.
going to Duke. Now, will they win the championship next year? I'm going to say no, simply because
Yeah, I wouldn't bet on
they
it.
haven't played
Right.
together. Marvin Bagley doesn't know how to play defense. Now,
Right.
he's going to be pick number 2 tomorrow night, and Marvin Bagley offensively.
He's
and
very,
I
very good.
marvel. He's 6'11", and this guy is good. And Sacramento is
He's
just
6'11", or I even thought he was. He's not 7'1". Huh? He's 6'11".
6'11", 220.
Yeah.
Of
Yeah,
course,
he's
he's
not a
still
bad
a
size.
kid. He's got to
Yeah.
put some meat. But he said, I want to go as high in the draft as I possibly can go. Sacramento's picking 2.
I bet you
Nobody in
everybody
the
would say
world
that.
wants to play in Sacramento.
Yeah.
Nobody. He said, I'm more than happy to play in Sacramento. Now, the unfortunate part, you get a great prospect like Bagley. How many times will we see Bagley play in the course of a season?
Right.
Very, very rare. Don't yawn during the show. Come on, man.
I'm sorry.
Hawk, speaking of Dookie, he's a guy who you had noted had fallen. I guess he has, but not a bad ball player though. Gary Trent Jr. This is
Yeah.
from the Herald, their NBA
fought-
draft.
I got
Draft.
him
The
at
Celtics,
26 going to the
in
Sixers.
Duke's cup of coffee, this is from the Herald, in Duke's cup of coffee culture, Trent didn't have much time to establish his credentials as a future leader, though that's exactly what happened despite the presence of lottery picks, Marvin Bagley and Wendell Carter, on the roster. Trent's defensive toughness was matched by something else that translates well into NBA currency. A capable jump shooter, and then there's a program that has produced him. Don't be surprised if he climbs a few rungs on the draft order Thursday night.
Yeah,
But he's a good
I
ball player.
had him drop to second round, but I've got him back up to number
really?
26. Now, and that's the thing about Trent. He wasn't the big guy on the team. And I asked Duke, probably on the golf course, why didn't guys like him and Trayvon
just hang
DeVal
around for another year?
second year and
Right.
establish
Money, I
themselves?
guess money's probably the quick answer.
Yeah.
But DeVal, I've got going at 53. That's
Is
not
that
big
right?
money. And it just shows me,
Yeah.
But
I mean, the dream of all these guys is to get to the pros. It's pretty. I hear you, Hawk, but geez,
but
it's
being
a
at
little.
Duke University, they're not hurting for money. They're taken well care of. Trust me.
Yeah,
And
but still.
then we hear Wendell Carter got $200,000 to play for
Yeah,
Duke. That story died. In fact, I can look at some of these names.
Yeah, he was
Kevin
one of the
Knox,
names that got knocked.
going ninth to the Knicks.
Yeah.
From Kentucky, I heard got a ton of money. There were a bunch of guys. Now, the other person I heard Celtics were really interested in was Big Mo Bamba,
Yeah.
center from Texas,
Yeah.
projected to go 5 overall. And he would fit very nicely in with, if they re-sign the Aussie. How many?
Aaron Baines.
Thank you.
The Globe notes that today, and they got a picture of him. The Celtics are interested in Mo Bamba, but he won't be available, obviously, at 27.
Yeah. One guy they've had for a couple workouts is Bruce Brown out of Miami, but I've got him on this mock sheet going 40th. But again, you don't know what you're going to get at 27th. Again, I feel comfortable going with Grayson Allen if he's still available.
Yeah, I don't think that's a bad pick if that's what it
I
comes
think
to.
he's played 4 years in college. You know what
Yeah,
you're going
4
to get.
years.
He's got a pretty good shot, and he does play some defense. So.
And even if a guy like him, even if they put him down in Portland with their G League team, the Maine Red Claws, that could put some people in the seats there. So
They also like the Dante from Villanova, Dante
DiVincenzo.
Yeah, he had a pretty good playoff run. So again, it's a crapshoot. Pretty much any
So
mock
Hawk,
draft.
you'll be all over the NBA draft.
Well, the good thing, and again, Celtics 27th, it's not like a big deal.
Right.
But
That's
it's not as big as it was last
so
year.
many trades
Right,
that-
yeah,
that
the trades are
happened.
gonna be
It just a
what to watch
ton
it
of
for.
trades.
Yeah.
And again, I'm still just gloating from last year, what could have been. This Markel Fultz
Yeah.
pushes the ball.
who knows?
He's
You
got
know,
a
he's had
horrible
one year, you
shot.
know, the guy may
Well, I
develop.
read this past week that the Philadelphia Brass wanted Tatum. They
really?
didn't want
Really?
Fultz after
Really?
working out. He had a horrible workout.
Really?
But then president who quit last week, Brian Colangelo, said overruled
Really?
his
Thank you.
scouts and his
Thank you.
GM and all that.
Thank
saying,
you
"No,
very
we're
much."
going with Fultz. Now, I'll give the kid a flyer. He had a bad shoulder last year.
Yeah.
But
Tatum was clearly the better pick.
Tatum's a pick.
Sure looks like it right now.
And
Yeah,
not
especially to get him at 3 instead of getting Fultz at 1. And, you know, Boston got that extra pick for trading down.
And Denny said if he had the first pick, he had Tatum, and I had certainly no reason not to believe him. We certainly didn't need Fultz. So
Speaking of the Celts, kudos to the Celts. You think this is totally logical, but how often does logic win out? I guess they just opened their new 70,000 square foot
I did see
state-of-the-art workspace, and it's the Auerbach Center. Sorry, Rick Pitino. Sorry, Rick. I'm sure you're expecting your name to be on there, but gee, they went back to old standby Red Auerbach for some reason.
I'll tell you what, dude, that was one incident. It wasn't news, but for us Celtic fans, Red Auerbach is the NBA. Okay, the NBA was not doing well. He saved the NBA, and
Certainly, it could probably make
And
certainly had a big
back
part
in
of
the day,
it.
Nick,
Yeah.
when you're watching basketball now, you got your head coach and 5 assistants. Red Auerbach had 0 assistants. He was the general manager.
I guess they had a trainer.
of the
Was
team.
Buddy LaRue the
Might
the
have
trainer?
been.
I think it was
but,
Buddy.
I mean, Red did it all.
Probably the guy who went out. He loved Chinese food. He probably went
Okay.
out and also got
So,
Chinese food for the whole
They
team.
signed Rick Pitino, okay, and they gave him all the power, okay. He didn't have the title of president of the ball club, but he had all the power. It was more of I can't remember the fancy word they give somebody when they give them a title, but Red would sit in the stand, chomp on an unlit cigar, and he was still listed president of Celtics, had no decision making. They might ask him for advice. Pitino got there and said, no. I'm the president. I'm the president of this team. He stripped Red Auerbach of his title
Unreal.
of president. Just
For that, there's nothing in
Yeah.
sports I'm probably more bitter about than what Pitino did, which is
And
why
he traded
I'll
away.
always-
Boy, Joe. He's still playing. Joe Johnson.
Yeah.
We had
Oh,
Joe
yeah.
Johnson on our team for about 2 months. Hall of Fame player.
Yeah.
He just made so many bad trades and
And his coaching style, he'd be running up and down. He'd be, it's like
Yeah.
just your young college coach,
Yep.
Right.
yelling at the guys, making trades seemed like every few weeks. Talk about driving me crazy. But the Red Auerbach thing, what an embarrassment.
Yeah.
So, okay, so tomorrow night, NBA draft, and I know nobody will be watching Friday night, the NHL draft. The only point, Boston has no first round pick.
Oh, is that right? No
Right.
first round.
Yeah, because they traded for Rick Nash.
And
Yeah, really.
Yeah.
Canadians have the 3rd overall pick.
Is that right? Third
And,
overall.
Yep.
Expect them to pick up a very talented forward, Philippe.
Huh.
Get my glasses on. Zadina from Czechoslovakia. If they don't pick him up, Brady Kachuk out of BU, who was a freshman last year.
Yeah.
Of course, his father was a great NHL player, but I expect Philippe Zadina pick. And of course, the Habs made a huge trade last week.
Oh, is
They-
that? I didn't even.
Yeah.
I
They
didn't even
traded
notice.
Alex Galchenyuk,
Oh, is that right?
and good luck in Phoenix, to the Arizona Coyotes for Max Domi,
Huh.
kid of former
Ty Domi.
Ty Domi, one of the best
Oh, is that-
fighters.
Oh,
in
yeah.
all
Oh, is that
time.
right?
Yeah.
Now, Galchenyuk, far superior in offensive skills.
Yeah.
Lazy
play
player,
defense.
didn't play defense. He kept crying he wanted to play center.
Oh,
But
yeah.
when you're playing center, there is
Yeah.
defensive responsibilities that come along with it. And, a lot of the pundits are saying Phoenix got a better end of that deal, but Domi will bring some grit, and
Yeah.
Domi will play hard every game for him. So, okay. Now, the U.S. Open. Okay.
Yeah.
We all play golf. We all like to putt on nice greens. When they give the aerial view of those greens, and again, I'm not a groundskeeper, but me know this. when you got brown grass,
Yeah.
water it. Okay, and I'm looking at these greens, and they're brown and gray, and I'm going to myself, how, I don't care if you're out in the Gobi Desert, water the greens
Right.
constantly, and they were horrible. And how that ever became a site of a U.S. Open is beyond me, and apparently they're back there in 10 years or so, but it
No,
was,
I mean, it's a famous,
it was,
it's one of the country's more famous, but they screwed up last time. It's the second straight Open that they've really screwed up. Last time.
but there's nothing redeeming about that course that I look at and say,
No, it's kind of a link. It's a different course. I mean, it's a links course. I mean, it's a real tough course. I mean, that's probably why
This is
the U.S.
Shinnecock
Open,
Hills, right?
Shinnecock
Yeah.
Hills. It's just so tough. Par 70, and it's a tough 70. But the USGA blew it big time. Saturday, I mean, the first half of the folks who went out Saturday had decent conditions, some good scores, and the second half who went out, Dustin Johnson, pretty straight guy. Dustin, a 77, actually hit the ball pretty well.
Yeah.
7 over par, which killed him.
listen, he's up 4 strokes after Friday.
The
I
only person under par.
I said, game, set, match, this golf tournament is over.
I never say that, but they screwed up big time Saturday.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And boy, did you watch any Golf Channel?
I did Sundays. I recorded Sundays.
Mr. Chambly he blasted him. He didn't mince any words
Yeah.
with these guys. Just an embarrassment. Of course, you heard. And Phil Mickelson does his weird thing. But Zach Johnson, I mean, some of the players were understandably very critical. But
Their
hey,
biggest
kudos to the-
complaint was
just the greens got, I mean, were insane. I mean, there's Phil running after the putt and stopping it. Didn't
Yeah.
want to see it roll off the
Yeah.
green. That the greens were too hard and almost unputtable later in the day Saturday. Again, I'm sure they watered it early. It got real windy. They just dried out too much.
But Duke, again, to my first
And then, of course,
point,
Sunday, they just poured a ton. They, if anything, maybe made it, maybe not really too easy,
Yeah.
but they maybe went overboard Sunday because of all the flack they took
but
Saturday.
why were those greens not lush greens? Again, if that was at Champlain, those greens, I would be complaining and just water it. Have the sprinklers on all night, water it, water it, water it.
I can't
So
tell you.
it was
But I mean, they
a
wanted
very
tough.
unenjoyable
It's
tournament.
it's a tough course, and they wanted it tough, and they went overboard. But all that said, kudos to Brooks Koepka, who's a heck of a golfer. I mean, back-to-back, that hadn't been done, which I'm sure you noted, since Curtis Strange in 1988-89.
Okay, that
30 years.
I did not
nobody had
know
won back-to-back. It's only happened, he's only the 5th person to do it, I think.
He
Ben Hogan, 50, 51. Bobby Jones as an amateur, I think.
Okay.
I mean, and Koepka's very good. And he actually, did you watch the last round?
yeah.
He made some great up and downs.
Yeah.
This was no easy win. Tommy Fleetwood had hanging around in the clubhouse with a 63 on Sunday, 2 over. And there's Koepka sweating out there, and he kept having to get, some great up and down, some just great, like 8, 10 foot
I would have
putts.
bet you, at the very least, it would have been a playoff.
Oh, and if there were-
I might have even bet you early in the round that Fleetwood's going to win this.
And for the record, we talked playoffs last week. I said I thought they had gone away from 18 hole. In fact, they had. Had there been a playoff, a 2-hole aggregate score playoff is what they would have done.
Oh.
2 holes, and the lower score obviously is a winner. I guess if they're still tied, they do
That
another
sounds
2 holes, I
A little
guess.
strange.
Well, I guess they're just wiping out a whole day the next
Yeah.
day. I think they just want to get away from that.
Yeah.
But kudos to Koepka. I mean,
But
he
very nice
he
guy.
earned that.
Isn't he a nice fellow?
guy.
Really down to earth.
Good guy, yeah.
Not much of an ego.
But he earned
on
it.
him.
He had just had some
Yes, he
great
did.
up. He made some great shots on that back 9. Then to give himself a bit of a break, he birdied the 17th, I guess, a par 5, and then had a easy 2-putt bogey on the 18th to win by a stroke.
And do you remember last week I did the odds, and Tiger was 16-1, so he was in maybe the top 6.
Yeah.
And of course,
and we
wasn't
questioned
around for the
how
weekend.
in the world, and it just, I mean, to me that was, aside from the condition of the course, the big news was who did not make the weekend.
Yeah.
I mean, all these major
Mark, I have a big
stars.
ad in the Wall Street Journal. Guess who's dominating the ad for the U.S.
Right,
Open?
and that's the
Our man
thing.
Tiger.
The big picture of Tiger with 2 other players.
And for the record, the course was wicked tough. It was, I think, 10 over, missed a cut by 1 or 2 strokes.
Yeah, well, give
Anyway.
some other names of who did make the weekend.
Oh, I mean, some of you, I mean, Justin Rose, there are some, very good golfers.
Jordan Spieth.
Ricky Fowler was hanging around for a while. Jordan Spieth did not make the
Right.
weekend.
Yeah.
His putting, going from one of the best putters, he's having huge putting problems.
Yeah, yeah, definitely a black eye to the USPGA.
Yeah.
No question about that.
Yeah.
So, a laughable topic here. You might be the World Cup. Is there anybody out there
I'm glad you mentioned that. I'm paying
That
some
is
attention to the
actually-
World Cup.
noticing the World Cup?
Yes, me.
You.
I plan. I
Absolutely.
usually watch.
Fuck, it's
the last couple
the
of years.
biggest
I've
for your
watched so
sports
much of
guy.
it.
It's the biggest
friggin'
world
sports event
It's the
in the
biggest
world.
event in the world. Period.
Why
No
you
argument.
don't give it a modicum of
Because
respect?
it's
is
the
beyond me.
world's most boring sport. I would watch the World Cup of croquet before I'd watch soccer.
It's not that boring to me. And again,
It's-
the scoring obviously goes without saying. They hardly ever score, but boring's not the word I would use for it.
And it's in
Yeah.
Russia. Now,
Yeah, it's in
how
Russia.
much?
Boy, they're all over the country, too.
Vladimir's, he spent billions on this World Cup.
Probably. There are a lot of different venues all over the country.
Yeah.
Volgograd Arena in Volgograd, 45,000. St. Petersburg Stadium, 67,000. Luzhniki Stadium in Moscow, 80,000.
Now,
Yeah,
dude,
all
did
over
I
Russia.
hear
Hey,
2020?
I think we have a call.
Do we have a
Imagine
call?
that. We have a call.
Good evening. You're on the Best Damn Sports Show in Franklin County. Hello.
Hey, good evening, fellas.
Hello.
How you doing?
Does the name Ronaldo from Portugal mean anything to you?
Yeah,
Why,
the most famous guy out there.
He
About,
might be the most famous athlete in the
probably
world.
in the world.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yes, it does mean something to me. Thank
See,
you.
Nighthawk, you know more than you thought you did.
Yeah. Well, I knew that, but
I was pondering through some of this stuff today, and they had the top 25 young soccer players in the world coming up, which they feel would be stars. And there was nothing from the U.S. there. You had people from Germany, somebody from Morocco, one guy from Saudi, and I'm sure there's a lot of people that share the same thoughts as you, Nighthawk. But for such a worldwide event every year, you would think that the U.S. might show a little more interest. I guess maybe we just have too many things going on here, but it isn't a bad sport to watch. If, you kick back and watch some of it, get, a few of the names, it's not really as bad as you think.
well, caller.
The World Cup, for the record, is the big tournament's every 4 years.
Okay.
They build up to it, but
No,
every 4
no.
years.
I'm going to put this caller to his word. Then, caller, I'm going to buy 2 tickets for me and you. We're going
Can you take me?
down to Boston. We'll go see the New England Revolution play,
Or Saputo. You might want to settle for Saputo Stadium
or
in
up to Montreal.
I think that's something we should do. I
Now,
wouldn't mind
this
catching
is
a
the
game.
World Cup.
Yeah, but
And the U.S. hockey would be
right.
happy
I
to
guess
know.
Mexico was fined today for what they were chanting to Germany.
Really?
So it gets
Hitler or
pretty
something?
dirty. And
Can you
boy,
tell us what they
these
said?
Games mean a lot to these people.
Oh, it's huge. Can
Caller.
you tell us what
Yeah.
they were chanting, or is that not something we can say over the air?
Well, I'm not sure what it was, but I'm sure it's something we can't say over the air.
But is that right? They got
otherwise they wouldn't have been fined the way. And we don't see it much here. I mean, a guy will get beamed by a ball or a bench clearing brawl, but those soccer games overseas, I mean, these things you have riots.
Oh, yeah, these are
and, 200 people in fist fights, and these guys take their sport serious.
Not to mention the
I guess,
riots and
like I
stuff.
said, we have so much going on here that we really don't get that much involved.
That's a good point.
And
That's
of course,
a very good
the
point.
word fan is short for the word fanatic, and they're fanatics.
Oh yeah.
Yep. Yeah.
Oh yeah. It's huge.
Yeah, I
of course,
think it's-
Hawk. Good news
Yeah,
for
but
you.
like I say, that's about all they have.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The U.S. again, U.S., Mexico, and Canada will be the host in 2026. The break the U.S. gets as a host country,
Okay.
they get an automatic in, so they won't have the embarrassment this year when they didn't.
Well,
even
what
get
I
in.
heard, was it Monaco they beat out for the bid?
No, they
Yeah.
they beat out Morocco.
Morocco.
I don't think
Now,
Monaco
I
would put up
heard
too strong.
Morocco didn't have a one
No, they have
soccer
no venues.
stadium,
Yeah.
and with North America had every
of course.
stadium possible.
You'd think
No-
it would have been a unanimous vote, right? The vote was only 2-1. For the
Right.
record, Morocco got a third of the votes with nothing.
Yeah, you get everything.
Shows
in
you how
Mexico,
crazy
everything
Now,
in
if my
the
geography
FIFA
serves me
votes are.
correct, Morocco's Northern Africa.
Ian and Jennifer were there not too long ago. Yeah, Northern Africa. Northwestern Africa. Yeah. Marrakesh, the great Marrakesh song.
By Crosby, Stills, Nash Young.
Casablanca, Casablanca.
Yeah, Humphrey Bogart.
Ian loves it. Ian can't wait to take me there. He loved the
Yeah.
place.
So,
Anyway.
caller, did you see?
Now, were you happy with your recent pickup with Herrera?
We talked about that earlier. It just goes to my feeling of don't wait till July 31st. If you need help, go out and get it. And Kansas City is a very sucky ball club, and all they got out of it, and I'm sure they talked to other ball clubs, the Nats' 10th, 11th prospect and a 17-year-old Latino kid who I've never even heard of. And Herrera went in last night, 8th inning, 3 outs on 6 pitches. So when Doolittle is not available to get a save, and he's been terrific all year, he'll be available. And for the record, the Nats bullpen, which was like the second worst in baseball last year, they're 10th in baseball this year with a 3.67 ERA. They're still not great, but they're much improved. But they have to start hitting. And I saw this caller like a week ago, blamed the slump of Bryce Harper. He talked about Bryce Harper about a month ago, and he's got about 3 hits since then. Bryce Harper right now is hitting about 213.
Hockey backed away, as we talk about maybe every week from his $500 million
He's on
10-year contract, right? You've
but
conceded
even though
defeat on that.
He's got 19 home runs, which is 3 more than the next guy in the league, and
All
he's
right.
got 43, 44 RBIs, which is like top 5. But I'm telling you, when a team looks at stats and sees a 213 popping out at you, he's going to have to hit around 330. The halfway point is next weekend. He's going to have to hit 330 the rest of the year, just get up around 275.
Really? Wow.
And that's not going to happen.
Wow.
Yeah, that won't happen.
No, it's not going to happen. And he came in the year as
Did you see that shot Soto hit the other night?
the what?
The Soto,
The home run
the
Soto
home run.
hit.
Oh my gosh. Against the Yankees, wasn't it?
Well, Soto's
Yeah,
going
okay,
back
yeah,
in
he beat
time.
the
Yeah, he
Yankees.
just,
He traveled back in
this
time to
Kid
hit it,
is
too.
amazing.
yeah, 19 years old, and he's very close to 100 at bats right now. He's still hitting around 324, showing no signs of. But Bryce Harper right now, and I didn't expect. I'm thinking that contract is right here in his head, and he's fighting every at bat.
Is that right?
He looks so uncomfortable,
Really?
striking out a ton of times and stuff. He would be better just to settle for $300 million and ask his wife, could we live off $300 million and sign a 8-year contract for 300, something like that.
Well, did you guys see the thing on Soto where
All right.
that home run that he hit, since that game started, I believe, May 15th was the official date of that game. Juan Soto hit a home run 5 days before his major league
That's
debut.
right.
That's
Right, he didn't
funny.
come up till May 20th.
Yeah.
That is funny.
So I thought that was pretty interesting.
Yeah.
Do you still feel that big major contract is out there, $300 million?
I think he'll get 300, but aside from having a bad year, it's we always say, the big players really aren't interested. The Red Sox don't need him. The Yankees don't need him. Houston don't need him. Cleveland, can get by without him.
Angels don't need him.
Angels.
Every team I hear, it's always for big trades or something, St. Louis or Philadelphia. Those 2 names always come up, and they never end up doing anything.
Yeah, that's the team I'm hearing most prominent is Philadelphia's only 3.5 games out of first, and they've been patient having bad seasons the last 4 or 5 years. That now that the young kids are playing better, it's time to strike. And of course, by getting Harper, he does not turn 26 until the end of the season. It's October 26th, I think, is his birthday. So he literally could even get a 5-year contract if he wanted, get back in the market at age 31 and still get money. But unfortunately, with these free agent contracts, I mean, my head's spinning all the time with all these opt-outs. They're not really what they appear to be. But you know, I was saying earlier in the show, and it's too bad you missed it because it was the best 45 minutes the show ever has had. So too bad you missed it. But the American League, for all intents and no purpose, it's over with. We already know who the 5 playoff teams are going to be. We know Houston's going to win the West. We know Cleveland's got the Central. We know it's going to be New York and Boston. One of those teams will be the wild card, and Seattle's got the other wild card. And there's nobody in contention even close. And FanGraph has got each of these teams at worst being a 96% chance of making the playoffs.
Is that right?
Yeah.
At worst?
So right. I mean, the Red Sox could play 500, as I said. The halfway point is next weekend, and they will still finish the season, even if they played 500, with about a 570 winning percentage, which would still get them about 90 wins. I mean, and again, Houston will be the best team, period. You know, by 2 weeks from now, they'll have the best record.
Did Houston win its 13 straight with...
they lost last night.
They finally lost? With
But they're still going to have to address their closing issues. I mean, Rondon's been doing some guiles again, but if you notice the Yankee series, when the Yankees beat them, it was in the late innings. When the Red Sox beat them, it was in the late innings. And these are the teams Houston is going to see in the playoffs.
Yeah.
Now, I thought Herrera would go to Houston, and they did not. And you've always made the point, and it was a very good point, Nighthawk, why wait till the end? You know, most people do to try to get more for the guy they're getting rid of. But, you know, Britain is pitching again for Baltimore, and we all know Baltimore is going to strip that team down. I mean, worst team in baseball right now. So I'm guessing maybe Britain will go there, maybe not. He could also go to the National League, but he probably will go someplace, and, you know, somebody's going to have to act quick.
Yeah. The National...
But, you know, you need to be able to close games out from the 7th inning on, or you're going to be, you know, in a lot of trouble in the playoffs.
Yeah, the Nats are playing Baltimore now. We fell behind them last night, but their pitching is so horrible that we ended up scoring 9 runs against them. The Orioles are in danger, and I'm just guessing that if they continue at the same pace right now, they will lose 116 ball games, and they could have the worst record since I think it was 1962. The New York Mets.
Davis has been benched for a week.
He's hitting up the last half dozen years. Chris Davis was the slugger. He's hitting 150, 4 home runs, and they signed him to a huge contract. I think it was before the season last year. And caller mentioned Adam Jones is a very nice ball player.
Good guy.
I can't believe I remember him with Seattle, played 2 years with the Mariners. He's been with Baltimore now for 10 years. Yeah. He's a nice player, and of course Manny.
Probably the face of the franchise.
And the Nats being 3 games out, we kind of realizing the Braves aren't going anywhere, and we couldn't wait till July 31st to strengthen up the back end of that staff. So I give kudos to our GM on that, but. I just the American League, it's just there's no tingle there because we know the only question we have Yankees or Red Sox. That's it.
Yeah, and I think the race, if you're a Red Sox or a Yankees fan,
But you know, you can pretty much
that makes it interesting.
bring that point to any sport.
Well, football, like look at the Rams last year. Okay, they were not very good 2 seasons ago. Who led the National Football League in scoring last year? Nobody would say the LA Rams.
The Rams.
The Rams, yeah. But there's always.
Yeah, but we pretty much knew who would be there at the end.
And there are a lot of Super Bowl teams.
With the Patriots and stuff.
Well, Patriots will always be there. But there are a lot of teams that make the Super Bowl, aside from the Patriots, that don't even make the playoffs the next year. So now, caller, I mean, easy question. Do you see any trades here in the next 6 weeks for the Red Sox?
I really don't know, but I think our biggest need is bullpen help. Probably along with a lot of teams. Like I say, I'm a big believer in being strong 7th, 8th, and 9th inning, and as well as everybody. There's going to be teams looking for that part of the ball game.
I mentioned.
I read this one thing where it said, "Don't be surprised to see Jackie Bradley gone and bring in a better hitting outfielder." But it's going to take somebody kind of special. I mean, Jackie's been hitting a little bit better, but
Look what he did
his
in the outfield
defense
last
is
night.
superb.
Well, let's throw this out,
Did I see
caller.
him? Did he screw up that
The
one?
aforementioned
Ball that got
Adam
by
Jones
him?
would look
Well,
good on the
he
Red
threw a
Sox
guy out for a
uniform.
double play.
No, it's all right.
And he's a very
103.4
good.
miles per hour.
Yeah, I
Defense-
would definitely do that. But, again, you don't
Yeah.
get that much trading within the conference.
But Nick made that very same point, but I said Baltimore is so far out and so many years away, I really don't think they care where any of their ball players end up. And the other,
Yeah, but I think the other teams do at the same time. You get because, the Red Sox, the Yankees, they're giving up prospects here to go to Baltimore. These guys, 4 or 5 years, are going to be playing against the Red Sox, the Yankees, 2-3 times a month. So, I mean, it's one of those situations too where you got to look at it from the other side as well.
I just think that we will never in our lifetime see the Baltimore Orioles contend against big money teams like the Yankees or Red Sox. It
Well,
just
I
won't
mean, they
happen.
were in the ALCS a couple of years ago. So
Were they?
yeah, they were the year Kansas City won, I believe.
Okay.
Either the year Kansas.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was a couple of years ago. I lose track, but
Yeah.
They
and,
were
and they
right
don't
there.
draw at Camden Yards anymore.
These
And-
guys, these
even
guys
though
have
it's one
sold
of the
out
best
for,
stadiums in baseball.
a
And
bunch
I-
of years after they opened the park.
And I truly believe that Major League Baseball made a mistake putting
Yeah.
Washington, giving them a franchise, because Baltimore and Washington just are not big enough cities. They're 38 miles apart to support 2 ball clubs. And, I would make the same point with the Giants and the Oakland A's. Oakland A's don't draw, and Oakland, financially, it's a very poor city.
Yeah.
So, now
Yeah.
caller,
I'll
last.
let you guys go.
Well, caller, one question. Have you heard any rumblings about Jacob deGrom going to the Yankees?
A guy at work mentioned that, but I saw this thing today on the internet where, and it's probably just sport writer talk, but Snell from Tampa Bay going to the Yankees
I've
for
heard him being
Frazier,
like that.
and they have a young pitcher, Sheffield, I believe his name
Yep,
is.
Justice Sheffield.
Yep.
Yeah, that would be a
and
good
that'd
trade.
be a killer. You'd have Severino and that Snell, both young
I can tell you-
superstar pitchers we'd have to probably face the next 10 years.
Blake Snell currently is 4th in ERA in the American League with a 2.48 ERA. So, yeah.
But once again, for the Yankees, I mean, you make that trade, then you're pitching again, or then you've got to face Justice Sheffield and Frazier for the next 5-10 years. So, do the Yankees really want to do that when they could go and get a guy of similar talent from maybe a San Francisco
Well,
or
remember
Los
this.
Angeles and have to play him once a year?
The Tampa Bay Rays in 3 years will be the Montreal Expos. So,
Perhaps, but I mean, you look at Toronto's. You look
Okay,
at
I'll let
Toronto's
you guys
attendance
go. You
numbers.
Thank
have
you.
2 minutes left.
yeah, thank you, caller.
Thanks for calling.
Yeah, about
See ya.
1 minute left. Houston is leading most runs in the league, and they also have the top ERA in the league. They're golden. The Yankees actually surpassed the Red Sox in team ERA. They're still like micro numbers away
Yeah.
from each other. But the Red Sox and Yankees are just so close in every statistical analysis.
And that's what's going to make it fun to watch for those fans.
Well,
Yeah, unless,
Right.
unless your team happens to get
Right.
in the wild card
Yeah.
game.
Right.
yeah. So, but and that's it. So we got
got
1
about a
minute.
minute.
So I'm going to leave the last 60 seconds for you guys. Any words of wisdom or?
Oh, we didn't even talk, of course, hockey. I mean, kind of a weird story.
Yeah.
Kudos to the Washington Capitals and the
Oh.
coach. Gee, you think they finally win the
Barry
cup?
Trotz
You think they treat the guy, hey, coach, great job, big contract. What, under a contract he had signed, they just got a little raise, so he
Yep.
said, hey, see ya.
Yeah.
How weird, that was kind of weird.
It was weird, yeah.
And Barry Trotz, coached Nashville for a number
Oh,
of
is
years,
that right?
so he's a real solid
I think
coach.
Barry will probably find another good job
For sure.
out
So
there.
that's it.
Anyway.
That will conclude this edition of the Best Damn Sports Show in Franklin County. For our studio director, Mr. Zach, my immediate right, the redhead here, Mr. Nick, and to my far right, the gray hair guy, the Duke.
Thank you, Hawk. Haircut guy. Hey,
So
haircut,
I'm
still
the
showing,
Nighthawk,
huh?
and till next week, as always, folks, remember, you do not have to be a great athlete to be a good sport. Ciao for now.